Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eddie Marcus again. Let me ask you something. What is the greatest threat that humans hold over one another? And that is death. That's taking their life, right? Ultimately, they might beat you up. They might violate you, put you in jail or prison, find you, make you do all kinds of time. But ultimately, they will kill you. And there are some things that people do that merit sometimes killing according to the systems of the world. In fact, a lot of people get on death row. I've never seen, as I've witnessed most recently, the highest power in a nation making sure that before that they leave power, that they kill as many black people on death row as they possibly can. Well, this is all a result of the world that we live in, ladies and gentlemen. But my point is, the ultimate power that they use to keep you in line is the threat of death. Now, what do they use most of all to suck you in, to manipulate you? They got something that is attached to everything that you require for survival. Food, clothing, shelter, education, healthcare, water, air, everything costs money. And that's what they got. They bait you with that, sucker you in. You get caught up, you know you need, in this system, money to do anything. Well, you can't deny that. That is absolutely the truth. Now, what does this money and this death have to do together with you? Well, on the one hand, they've suckered you in. They made you forget. They made you give up life to buy into what they promised you would be better than life. And now they got you hooked with the money. And now you're getting so confused, and the threat is that you might not want to follow in line and stay in to their game, so they got all of this other stuff. And death is on the end to keep you. So they got you cornered in. Now, one thing they do know is that the truth will set you free. And so they do everything they possibly can to keep you from getting the truth. They will put a lie before you and advertise that lie, because advertising has its purpose and it works well. They will advertise a lie to you all day long. You lies, lie, lie. They'll just advertise lies. A good thing, a truth comes along. No advertisement, no anything. See? Why? That's the truth. The truth will set you free. If you knew the truth, in relation, when I say know the truth, I'm not talking about as I see it, but I'm talking about the truth as it's evident and relevant in your way of life. If you knew the truth as it's relevant in your way of life. Well, now, you know what that would do? That would set you free from money. That would let you know that all things belong to a power, not these people who got ownership on it, who call themselves royalties, who call themselves upper class, finance, elite. All of that stuff they stole. They lied, they cheated, they stole it from people who trusted them and others who didn't know any better. They robbed them and they called themselves somebody more than you. But the truth is, all this stuff was made by a power none of us cannot see, touch, feel, or conjure up in our minds. It's an invisible power. But it is power nevertheless, because all existence is the evidence of its existence. Yes, my friends. And to know that is to know that no man, no system of government, no anything is above you except that power that you can't see. And the evidence that you are with that power is that you allow that power to live in you. You become a physical manifestation of that power as is relevant in your life. You become that. And the evidence of it is that now that love that is in you flows to all people. All people. So we got all people led by the same spirit of love as it is evident and relevant in their lives. And it guides them, it dictates to them that all things belong to all things, belong to all that God has given, that the Creator has given, that invisible power has given. And now we, each of us, engage ourselves. Remember, we're not just here. But the joy of being alive is to engage ourselves in the creative process of manifesting all that we desire, all that we want, all that we need. By our hands, by the love of that power now alive in us. And we manifest peace and prosperity and freedom and joy in our lives and the fulfillment of our dreams. We don't lie, we don't cheat, we don't steal, we don't have to kill, we don't have to do those things. Those are the things of the deceiver. They do those kinds of things. And when it comes to death, if for some strange reason our living environment is so distant from God that they have robbed themselves, denied themselves of the evidence and the knowledge of dealing with all sicknesses, with all diseases, and they still are victims to them. But those who are free, those who know as I know, death is an open door. This is what they do not want you to know. When you live your life according to the Father, and you start getting old, and you start feeling pain, you don't have to take it. Now you can choose to walk away from this life. That's your authority. That's your number one authority. No man has no authority to tell you that you can't die. And you have no attachment to any system and social and liabilities and rules and regulations that if you die, your folks gonna suffer. So you have to suffer just so the crap can continue. No, my friends, you're free from all of that. So if you don't want to go through any pain, you don't want to go through any suffering, you got the authority to go to the physician and ask and tell him to put you to sleep. You got the authority to do that. Look at yourself lying in pain and suffering and hollering and screaming for what? They know you're not going to survive. You know you're not going to survive, but you're just going there screaming and screaming and screaming. Why? Because you caught up in a system that says you got to do it. They even tell you religiously, God wants you to suffer. All of that, ladies and gentlemen, people can believe what they want to believe. That's up to you. But I'm telling you about the life, about the love that creates all of the things that I've shared with you, opens the door easily for you to avoid any pain and suffering. Once you have had an experience, everything else is repetitious. To eat an egg, there'll never be. That's done. Everything else is repetition. To eat a piece of ham, that's done. Everything else is repetition. To kiss, that's done. Everything else is repetition. To make love, that's done. And everything else is repetition. So you're just repeating, and repeating, especially when you're not doing the will of love, when you're not doing that which is really you. Because when you're doing that which is really you, you're fulfilling the process. You're fulfilling the basic principles required to create heaven on earth. Now, I didn't want to go into all of that. I really just wanted to share with you is this, that there's a way of life that's designed by love. And love means loving everybody. It means loving Trump. And you know most of the country can't stand him. But love means loving Trump. That don't mean letting Trump make a fool of you. That means stopping Trump from making a fool of you right away. But not trying to get even with him. They are lost. And they need love to show them the way back. They want the same things that we all want. They're humans. They don't know how to achieve it. Their way won't achieve it, but love's way will. And so you're being called to represent love. Represent love. And that way, when your time comes, you can walk out of that door gracefully. Why? Because everything is just repetition. Been there, done that. Until next time, this is Eddie Marcus saying good night.